Good morning everyone. Welcome to Byjus Exam Prepare IAS. And today we are going to discuss 3rd February news analysis. So let's look into the topics that we have selected for the day. As you can see, the first topic that we'll be discussing today is that India has communicated to the Maldivian government that we are going to replace the military personnels. Now please note down, the word is replace. We'll discuss this more, but right now the word that has been used is that we are going to replace the military personnel in Maldives. So we'll look into the Maldives as well as India's slight bit of past history with regards to what all and where all have we helped them with our military. And this step that they are asking us to do, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, is something that's going to harm them more than anyone. Moving to the second point, population priorities on interim budget statement and the census. Now this is an article that came in today's newspaper again. But those who would have attended the CNA or the daily news analysis of yesterday, if you remember yesterday, I talked extensively on this topic that Madam Nirmala Sitharaman, our Honorable Finance Minister, has decided to constitute a very high-level committee which will be looking into certain parameters of, the demographic changes that has happened specifically in the areas near border. Now, why I chose this article again, it is for all of you who attended yesterday's DNA. If we get topics which are similar in every day's newspaper, how do we build on that? This is to show you that. For example, yesterday you already listened to my lecture, and let's say you attended 20 minutes and you read yesterday's one article. Now when you will see today, you will find that today's article mostly would be copy or the similar things which would have been written yesterday also. And there might be some addition. So how do we build on these additions? That we shall be looking here. And again, I'll talk about a slight bit of census. Third, as Myanmar junta marks 3 years, resistance movement gathers steam. Now, our neighbor, very, very volatile situation for the last 3 years. And of late, at least since last year, it has been affecting India in many, many ways. And here, specifically, you will see 2 states of our country, Northeast, Mizoram and Manipur. They would have different ideas about how to deal with Myanmar. Under which context I am talking? Our Honorable Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, a few months back has announced that we are going to do the fencing of the Indo-Myanmar border. Now in this article you will study one state, that is Manipur, has been calling for this. Another state, Mizoram, is not entirely happy with this particular decision. But then again, this is only the brief that I'm saying right now. Once we delve into the topic, we'll see much more over here. Number 4th, as Ariha turns 3, Mother Dhara Shah appeals to Prime Minister to intervene. Now, some of you who might have been reading newspapers from a very long period of time would remember something similar had happened earlier in the last decade with Norway. And some of you who are movie buffs would have seen a Hindi movie also coming on the same topic. Now something similar is being again seen with regards to India, Germany. This time Germans and Germany and the authorities of Germany have taken a child from their parents. 5th, lot of you might be very, very worried for the last 2-3 days with the recent directives of RBI with regards to Paytm. You all might have some account, some of you might have the FASTag, some of you might have even the shares of Paytm which has tumbled like anything in the last 2 days. You are very, very worried that why has RBI taken such an action against Paytm? one of the startups of our country, one of the biggest startups of our country. So we will see what are the issues being raised here. And you can see in the headline only it is written, the KYC, the money laundering concerns. These are the factors that have led the RBI to interfere, and that's led their order on the Paytm bank. So we'll see that too. Sixth, a rising tide lifts all boats. Another editorial. Yesterday, a lot of comments that came on the newspaper analysis was, why is Hindu always against the government? It's not like that. They are a lot of times supportive also, and I'll show you. This is an article where you will see that they are applauding a lot of initiatives which is being done by the present government, specifically with regards to infra, and infra basically the health, etc. Lastly, a prelims bites. Rooftop solar scheme. Yesterday, the Prime Minister has made it clear that a big part of this scheme would be funded by the central government. So yesterday it was in news. Now, before I go further, let me make one thing very, very clear. Even when I say there is a topic for mains, there is always a possibility that there might be a prelims question coming from that. And that I will depict, that I will show you today. So do not think that if the teacher says a topic is for mains, there is no way that there will be a question on prelims. Similarly, if you are studying this topic for prelims, don't you think tomorrow if there is a question in mains, specifically with regards to, let's say, infrastructure or with regards to renewable energy, don't you think one or two slides or one or two lines, paragraph, you would be writing based on this scheme? So, see, again, it's UPSC. You cannot always study in silos. You cannot always divide the things specifically like pre and mains. A lot of times there would be overlap. So, without wasting the time, I have given a good introduction, I hope. Let's move to the first topic. That's your Maldivians. As you can see, what has been announced? India will replace its military personnel by May 10th. This is the statement by Maldivian government. Context is India-Maldives relation. Topic is about the replacement of India's military personnel. This came in page 11. Everybody knows it is very, very important for IR. So if I talk to you, remember, they are saying that this replacement of our military personnels will happen in two phases. And by May 10th, this would be completed. This was discussed in yesterday's meeting of a high-level core group between the two sides. Now, most of you should be knowing, but if those who do not know, why suddenly a requirement of a replacement of our military personnels from Maldives? That's the big question. So please remember, this comes from the demand that came from Malé. What is Malé? It's the capital of Maldives. So the Maldivian government have asked, a few months back, around 2 months almost, that India should end its military presence in their country. Again, you all know this led to the whole big issue where they had insulted our honorable Prime Minister, and this led to a lot of social media controversy too. There are 3 of the ministers who are right now suspended. They had, I would say, disrespected our Prime Minister as well as disrespected our nation, which led to boycott Maldives being a trending topic and Lakshadweep having a lot of focus with regards to tourism potential. So that was your second point. I've already told you, yet I'll write this so that you all know this controversy was created by the remarks of 3 ministers of Maldives, who all are the ministers of Mohammed Muizzu government. It's his government's ministers who did this. So this is the thing. Now, if you go further back, basically this man became the president of Maldives only by promising the people that he would ask India to go back. Specifically, he will ask the Indians or Indian government to pull back its military personnel. So, hopefully, the context is clear. Now, under this context, let me tell you, there are 3 aviation platforms right now in Maldives. And we will replace all these 3 in 2 phases. One by 10th March and the other 2 by 10th May. So we have made it very clear, we are replacing these military personnels in 2 goes. One by 10th March, another by 10th May. Now comes the big word, replace. Now please understand, what is the word used here? Replacement. Yesterday's newspaper articles have not elaborated, maybe the governments have not clearly hinted who are going to replace these military personnels. Are they going to be replaced by civilian operators? That is, somebody like you and me, if we are qualified enough, can we go to Maldives and replace it? Or it would be replaced by another batch of armed forces personnels. So this has not been clarified in yesterday's article. They have simply used the word replacement. They are not talking about how this replacement will happen. So clearly, one thing I must highlight to you, if the government is only talking about replacement, clearly it shows that the Maldives government wants to continue with the cooperation when it comes to the field of defense and security. Because you can think, if they wouldn't have used the word replacement, they would have said, take them back, remove them. But the word being used is replacement. At the same time, let me add 2 plus 2. This is one point that I have brought. Let me bring another point. Those who would have seen the budget, in the 2023-24 budget, we grant some money to all our neighborhood nations, those who are having friendly relations with us. And in that, Maldives is getting a bigger financial allocation. That is, 400 crore has been taken to 770.90 crore. So please understand, the diplomatic relations and the relations between countries, they keep on evolving. What happened in the last month does not have to be true even today. Maybe some improvements have happened in the past, which is helping us at this point. And that's why the Maldives government has also slightly come down from its hardliner position that take back your military. And they are saying, okay, replace your military. And in return of that, we are saying, good boy, we are going to help you. We are going to give you much more assistance. Because anyways, please remember, our relation with Maldives and their relation with us is a symbiotic relation. We both get advantage. We both are in an advantageous position if we both remain friends with each other. For us, Maldives take care of our security concerns. And for Maldives, give me a minute, I'll tell you, with regards to military interventions, with regards to our military, how so many times we have helped Maldives in the past. Though I must mention one point here, that again, a new controversy has also begun in the Maldives social media, where it is being shown that Indian Coast Guard, those who patrol the seas, their personals, they were boarding, that was, they were going on the Maldivian fishing vessels in the EEZ of Maldives. EEZ is exclusive economic zone. So this is another controversy which is happening. So you can see, on one hand, relations are becoming better. They are coming down from their earlier stand. We are giving them more assistance. But then new controversies are also coming up. And please understand, there is always a possibility that these new controversies are being created by those who do not want that India-Maldives friendship should be like Jai Viru. They do not want something like that. They want that there should be a sort of divar or a wall being created in the friendship of these two good friends, historically good friends. So that's the case. Now, two things left in this. Let me tell you that. One is, I told you how in the past India has always come to the help of Maldives. Many of you must be knowing about Operation Cactus that took place in 1988. What had happened here? There was a coup happening in Malé, which was led by a businessman named Abdullah Lutufi. A businessman was trying to do a coup in Malé, and he was helped here by some mercenaries, secessionist groups of Sri Lanka, led by People's Liberation Organization of Tamil Eelam. In the nick of the time, our military personnels had started Operation Cactus and prevented the fall of President Gayoom's government. We rescued President Gayoom. We brought the capital back to them. This is the finest example of one country helping another country remain democratic. Similarly, if I talk to you, many of you might know 2004, there was a Malé water shortage crisis. This happened in December 2014. What happened is, in Malé, there was a collapse of the only water treatment plant that is there in the island. Now think about this. You can survive without many things. You cannot survive without water. Maldivian government urged our government, please help us as early as possible. Help us. Our government immediately sent its heavy lift transporters like C-17 Globemaster 3, which were carrying bottled water for them. Not only this, our Navy sent its ships like INS Sukanya, INS Deepak, which all can produce the fresh water. Again, I do not remember a better example of friendship than this at this point. Similarly, when there was COVID and everything had been disrupted, again, our Air Force airlifted 6.2 tons of essential medicines and hospital items to Maldives, and this was named as Operation Sanjeevani. So many such things are being done, or so many such things have been done in the past. And yet, let me tell you again, yet Maldives is asking our military to be replaced. Now some of you may have one last thing in your mind, that has India placed 1 lakh people over there? Has India placed 10,000 soldiers? Has India put 1,000 soldiers? I don't know how many of you know it, but let me tell you, this number is less than 100. The military personnel that are being talked about, this is not even in 3-digit number. Let me tell you, I told you, in 2 phases we are going to be replaced. So let me tell you, we have given them 2 helicopters and 1 Dornier aircraft, which is used for marine surveillance, search, rescue operations. For that, this aircraft is used. Now, look at the number. 24 military personnel to manage first helicopter. 26 military personnel to manage second helicopter. 25 Indians to manage the Dornier aircraft. And finally, 2 Indians for maintenance and engineering. You all can see only 77 military personnels are there, and these people all the time, they are there to aid, assist the ordinary people of Maldives. Let us wrap this topic with the last point, and the only point that I would like to make, that the Maldivian government should not make their people suffer in order to please their masters from China. Indian assistance in Maldives is all about humanitarian assistance. It is about to help the people over there, and we have demonstrated it time and again. These all examples are the commitments that we did to the Maldivian government, to the Maldivian people. Whoever has been in the government, pro-India, anti-India, we have always supported them. We will keep on supporting them in future also. That concludes our first topic for the day. That is the Indo-Maldives relation. Moving ahead. Okay. Now everyone, you can see this. Page 6 internal security related topic is there. GS paper 3 population priority. It can also go in paper 2. Now, yesterday only I have talked about all these things. That is, there is little reliable data, yet the Honorable Finance Minister is saying that the population is growing fast. And under this circumstance, she has appointed a high-powered committee to look into this. And the big problem, the elephant in the room, is that the census has not been conducted in 2021, and this has been indefinitely postponed as of now. Finally, as I said, the big charge, the demographic change. So now, please understand why I took this topic again. I'm repeating. You studied this yesterday. Again, when you will see this article today, for example, if I underline this here, it is also, I'll change the pen color, just give me a second. It is saying the TFR in India has fallen to 2, with only few states like Bihar, Meghalaya, UP, Jharkhand, Manipur having TFR above 2.1. So you can see, go and look at my yesterday's news analysis. Yesterday also we said these are the only 5 states. Now, do we get any new item, new extra information in today's newspaper? Yes, we do get one more. We do get one extra information. What is that? Read the next line. It says, and again I'll have to change the pen color. It says that the TFR used to be 5.7 in 1950, and this has come to 2. So this is one extra information that I get in this article. So understand, when you people are in the habit of reading the newspaper every day, do a comparison between what you read yesterday and any new topic that would have come subsequent days. And then only write or only point out those points which are new. Now, when I have taken this, let me talk about slightly on the issue of census. And here, the history teacher of mine is, trying to say a few things to you. What is the history of census? Where does it all start? Is it a Western thing that has been adopted by India as told by many of the people? So let me tell you, the census, the earliest literatures in India, as early as Rig Veda, they reveal that some kind of population count was done as early as 800, 600 BCs. Now, if you talk about Kautilya, he also writes that for the purpose of taxation, the census was done in those days. If you come to medieval age and you talk about Akbar, during his regime also there were administrative reports like N.A. Akbari, which had the data regarding your, I would say, population. Then the various aspects of the people, like how much wealth they do have, about the industries, and many other characteristics. So you can see even in ancient eras we were doing it. In the medieval era also we did it. Now comes the modern era. In modern era, it's around 1800 when England had started to do or conduct census. Later, when it comes to India, as early as 1824 Allahabad and 1827 in Banaras, some sort of countings were done. In Banaras, this was carried out by a very important man named James Prinsep. Now for prelims, see here, very, very important fact. First time complete census of an Indian city was done for Dhaka, conducted by Henry Walter. This was done as early as 1830. And you all know that the census which we all see started from 1881, which was conducted by W.C. Plodden. He was the Census Commissioner of India. So from there onwards, that is from 1881, every 10 years we have been conducting the census. It is only in 2021 when the census was not done, and we all know the reason for that was COVID. But after that it has been continuously postponed and we have no clue when is it going to be done. So census yesterday I did not tell you, so I have added some new information. You can know about census. It might come in your prelims, the history of census specifically with regards to India. Now coming to this article again, what I said yesterday already you have read this article. There is nothing new. But if I read it again, do I get some new information? One I wrote in the previous slide that see, our TFR used to be 5.7 in 1950. So clearly a big drop. 5.7 to 2 is a huge drop and we are doing good now. Number 2, any other information? Yes, they write that the population share of the southern states has dropped to 21% from 26%. Now again, any data without the source is incomplete, is not good. This 26% is according to 1951 census. This 21 is according to 2011 census. So clearly this is a big drop when it comes to the population of the South Indian states. And let me tell you one bigger fact here. Even when it has dropped to 21%, of course, the good thing is this 21% drop is mainly because their TFR has reduced in a very rapid manner. And this is because of the better socio-economic outcomes. Plus, of course, education. Let me add to one thing, that this number has gone down, and a big or a good chunk of this 21% is also because of the higher migration that is being or that is taking place in these states from the other states of India. So people are continuously moving to these states. They are migrating. So yesterday, if you remember, in yesterday's mains question paper, I said that the demographic advantage that we have, it has its own advantages, it has its own disadvantages. The demographic dividend, a lot of time you people in social issues would be speaking about this word, demographic dividend. What is this demographic dividend? How should we, utilize this? So please understand, this is basically relatively high proportion of the working age population in the developing world. So if you see here in India, we have a very big population of the people who are in very early stages of their life. They are very youthful. And these people, they are in their working age right now. But then, human resource will be a resource only if this population has sufficient jobs, they have some degree of social security, because we have studied many a times that there are high unemployment rates in India. So these things will not be working in our favor if we do not, tackle these, and then this demographic dividend will become useless. So this committee which is formed, this particular editorial which you saw in the previous slide, this editorial in its last paragraph says that this high-powered committee can play a very, very crucial role in addressing what? In addressing the questions which are related to jobs, number one, to social security, the challenges that people are seeing because of the rapid urbanization, as well as mechanization of work. If these things are handled, looked into by this committee, it will become easy. So again, slightly smaller topic. Maybe we would have done it in 8-10 minutes. I don't exactly know how much time did we take it. But then, please understand, this is in continuation to the article that came yesterday also. Now come to another neighbor, Myanmar. Now a big article has come on paper 7 today in International Relations, GS paper 2. And I have taken some points here. But then I would request you people to read this. If you are not, don't worry, I have read for you. And this is going to take at least 20 minutes. So bear with me for the next 20 minutes. It's a very, very important topic. See here, as I said at the very beginning in the context setting, that two states, Manipur and Mizoram, we are talking about here. So what is happening is, Myanmar and India has a very, very long border. We know in Myanmar right now there is violence. So this is resulting into a lot of its citizens fleeing to India and coming to states like Mizoram and Manipur. Though I must say, your Myanmar also has borders with other states like Arunachal Pradesh, etc. But then we are right now concerned mainly with two states, Mizoram and Manipur. And just to make this clear, though in internal security you must be studying, this border length is 1643 kilometer. Now, the question is, how did this violence begin? Why did this violence begin? This violence had begun from February 2021. Why? Because Myanmar's military had seized the power via a coup. So clearly Myanmar's military is in power. So they replaced. Whom did they replace? You all know Aung San Suu Kyi's government, the National League for Democracy. So this resulted that many thousands of citizens, they have moved to India. Hopefully the background is clear. This is the background in which this article is going to be discussed. Now, I'm not perturbed about, because in this article, when you will read on your own, you will find that they have mentioned about that XYZ person came to India, now she's working here, she's working as a nurse, this. So I'm not telling you about all those things. We are coming directly to the point that between India and Myanmar, there exists something called free movement regime. This is FMR. What is FMR? FMR is that it permits local trade plus allows the resident, those people who are living in this border of 1643 kilometer, that both the sides people can move 16 kilometer into each other's territory. Most important thing, this can be done without travel documents. This is an agreement which was signed between both the sides and came into implementation in 2018. So all of you can understand that this is a right that both the sides people have, that till 16 kilometer into everyone's territory, both the sides territory, the people living on the borders can move. So this is the free movement regime agreement. Now, why are you allowing such a thing? One of the reasons is that there is a shared ethnicity when it comes to the people of both the sides. So for example, that side you have Chins. In India you have Mizos. They both come from the same ethnicity. And they claim that they are a part of, please see this word, Zogam. Zogam means land of Zo people. That is, they have been a part of one country or one land known as Zogam. And this was only divided by the British in 1800s. So these people, they say that this border that has been artificially created by the British was a divide and rule thing which was done by the Britishers. Until 1800s, they were together. Only the Britishers have divided them into two sides. So this Zogam that I am talking about, please remember, this is more or less the present day Mizoram, the Chin state of Myanmar, and other areas. They all are termed as Zogam. So that is why, please remember, there is a lot of social interaction between the people on both the sides of the border. Hopefully this is clear to you why such a close relationship is visible between the people of both the sides. Now, the third part. When the violence began, see here, people started fleeing. This number has gone up, down, but on an average, Mizoram presently has 35,000 people who are displaced. And now, all of you, you can imagine such a beautiful state, Mizoram, at the same time, such a tiny state is burdened with 35,000 outsiders. And these outsiders, they come from where? They come from 3 different countries. One is their own, that is India. Because you know, in Manipur, there is a lot of displacement that has happened. So a lot of Manipuris or people from Manipur, they have moved to Mizoram. Second, a lot of people from Bangladesh, they have moved over there. And third, as the article clearly says, it is Myanmar's people also who are moving over there. So 3 different, type of, I would not call Indians, different, but people from other state of India, that is Manipur, Bangladesh, of course, outsiders, and Myanmar, the third. So these people have been staying here. Mizos have been hosting them very, very nicely, but you can understand, such a small state, so much burden on them. Now listen to me, the new point. As I said, January, our Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, he announced that we are going to fence the entire border. Now all of you think, if there would be fencing on the entire border, don't you think this free movement regime would be affected? Definitely. So this is going to impact FMR. That is the people who could move easily from one side to the other side at least till 16 kilometers, they will be impacted. Now, who are these people who are going to be impacted? For example, there is a person named Sangthan Kima. He was recently awarded Padma Shri by the government of India. Why was he awarded the Padma Shri? Because he runs the largest orphanage of Mizoram. Now he has its 4 centers in India, but its smallest center, one is located at a place called Tahan. Forget Tahan, just remember one of its orphanage is in Myanmar. Others are in India, as well, Lunglai, Champai, all those places. But one of them, which has got around 100 orphans, the smallest of his 5 centers is in Myanmar. Now, if this fencing would happen, he is worried that this FMR will get impacted. That's the thing. So, the people are getting impacted here. Am I clear? So, let me do this. That this is one reason that a lot of people are affected here. Let me take another slide. Just give me a second. Let me change. Okay. Now, I've already said lots of people flee Myanmar and they are here. Apart from this, I've already said that the Mizos are related to Chins, but then in this article it is also mentioned that they are related to Kuki-Zos of Manipur and Kuki-Chins of Bangladesh. So you can understand why then the people from Manipur who were displaced, they moved to Mizoram. Similarly, people from Myanmar as well as people from Bangladesh, they all have moved this side. So this point I should have said here only, that why are the people fleeing? Because there is common ethnicity between these. Now for prelims here, there is one line only written name of a river named Tiau. Please note down this. For geography through map, a Tiau river is mentioned, which originates from Mizo Hills and basically is there in Mizoram, and later merges with Tuipui River. So this is also one prelims bites that's mentioned here. So basically it's more or less acting as a, I would say, natural frontier between India and Myanmar, and people, it's a very important river of Mizoram. So that's also one of the points. Lastly, as I began this article with one point, that two different states, Manipur and Mizoram, they have reacted differently when it comes to this particular movement of the people. Manipur is saying that, see, these outsiders, they have contributed or led to a lot of violence. Whereas for Mizoram, as I said, ethnicity is the issue. Now think about India as a whole. What is the policy of the central government? Now please understand, India is not a signatory to UN Refugee Convention, which was signed in 1951. So our forces are simply said to push back the refugees. And this is one of the reasons Indian government was not entirely convinced by the Mizo government to give a 10 crore assistance, financial assistance initially. Later, the government was ready to help in kind but not in cash. So in those days, recent elections happened in Mizoram 2 months back. Before that, the government was of Mr. Zoramthanga, and he had ignored the centre's order to collect the biometric data of all these refugees who are coming from Myanmar. But as you know, there is another government in Mizoram now. The government has changed, and now the government is of Laldu Homa, of Zoram People's Movement. All of you, just a second. Zoram People's Movement. This is the government of new Chief Minister is Laldu Homa, and his point is that they are in a financial crisis, and they are basically saying we cannot stop the central government from doing the fencing here. I'll write here only, better. Remember, ethnic conflict that is happening here since May 2023. Manipur's government is blaming on the infiltrators from Myanmar. So remember, three parties apart from Myanmar: the Indian central government, the Mizoram state government, and Manipur's state government. And there is a conflicting view on these two, or between these two. Conflicting view is there here. Now in this, there is only one point that I have left, which you can also ignore. In this article only, they have talked about the historical Anglo-Burmese wars that took place in 1826, resulting into the signature of Treaty of Yandabu, which has basically demarcated the territories of British ruled India and your present day Burma. Rest everything is done. Just one thing keep in mind: few days back some 500 Myanmar soldiers had come on our side, and we had later asked them to go back. So their plane, when it had landed, it had even crashed in India. So that you should keep in mind. Rest more than sufficient for the Indo-Myanmar relations. Moving to the fourth topic. As you can see, Ariha turns 3. Mother Dhara Shah appeals to PM to intervene. What is this? A child is in the custody of the German authorities. Now, at the very beginning I said, let me take another slide. Something similar had happened earlier between India and Norway. Then also it was about the child custody. And this became the subject of, I don't know how many of you have seen, I haven't seen. There was a movie named as Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway, highlighting the diplomatic issues between India and Norway, which had started in 2011, and the issue was about the Indians losing the custody of their child. There were 2 children here, so I'll mention children. Now, everyone, why are the Western authorities so indulgent taking over our children? Why is this happening? So a lot of time the factor is of cultural differences. The way our parents raise us and the way the Western people raise, there is difference. I'm not getting who is good, who is bad. I personally feel my parents or your parents, everyone, parents, they have raised their child to the best of their abilities. And according to the local cultural differences, there might be some differences here. So that time, authorities had taken the 2 children, saying that the parents are unable to look after them. Similar such thing is happening again now in Germany. Now what has happened is, in Germany, a child named Ariha Shah, her mother's name is mentioned, Dhara Shah, was taken into custody by the German Youth Services. Now, she had turned 3 recently. So she was taken in 2021 when she was very, very young, and recently she turned 3, this child, Ariha Shah. So the mother is requesting Prime Minister Mr. Modi that please intervene in this matter. Mother's point is that the Germans, they are only teaching her only teaching her German language. The child is not knowing anything about Indian culture. So here, please remember, this German Youth Services is known as Jugendamt. Pronunciation might be wrong, but this is the spelling which is absolutely correct. So that I had mentioned over there. If tomorrow, if comes in the prelims, what exactly it is basically German Youth Service. So the parents are saying she is knowing only German. She should be taught English or any other Indian language. The parents were requesting that she be allowed to attend the Republic Day function, which was done by Indian government in Germany. Because parents are saying that, see, she is saying that when she meets her own child is not able to, connect with her. She is connecting with her guardian, whoever is looking there, and thinking that her guardian is her mother. So this is the thing. Now, our diplomats, they have the consular access over here. But as far as our Prime Minister is concerned, he hasn't spoken on this issue. Where is this? Prime Minister 2 times has met the Chancellor of Germany, Olaf Scholz. He had even come 2 times in India in 2023, but both the times Prime Minister has not raised this particular issue. So this is basically in your paper 3, if there is any question on Indian diaspora and the problems faced by the Indian diaspora, you can always mention that these cultural differences are also very, very tough. If anyone has this, that if this is not resolved, till how long Ariha Shah would have to stay away from her guardian parents? It is that she might have to remain with her German caretakers till she is of 18 years. Very, very tough situation for any parent as such. Moving to the 5th topic of the day. As you can see, our 5th topic is Indian economy, GS paper 3, the Paytm crisis. Now, startup, big startup having a lot of issues. Why issues? Because RBI on January 31 directed the Paytm Payments Bank Limited to stop all the business transactions. Now, when this came on January 31st, today is 3rd February, yesterday and day before yesterday, the market stumbled like anything. The shares of Paytm, which were around 750, have come to the range of something like 400. Hard-earned money of many Indian investors has gone down into the drain. At the same time, many people who have their FASTags in the Paytm bank or who have accounts, they are worried. Why did RBI take such a decision? Many other startup founders, they were like, Paytm is such a good company, has done so much for our country. Why is RBI taking such a step which is going to cripple this? RBI gave them date or time only till 15th March. So now, a report has yesterday come in the Hindu newspaper that this decision of RBI was based on the concerns related to Paytm banks. RBI supervisors, the supervisors who were looking after this, they had a lot of concern, as well as the external auditors were raising many concerns about Paytm bank and its functioning. Now everyone, what are those concerns? PAN validation failed in lakhs of accounts. You all know when you open a bank account, you provide them the PAN card or PAN numbers. In many accounts, this had failed. Second thing, KYC details, they were again missing for large number of accounts. See, if you will ask Paytm, they will say that, see, we have maintained all these things, there is no issue. But right now in this newspapers, it is coming that KYC norms were not there. So this resulted that the customers were exposed, depositors, account holders, or rather I would say wallet holders, they all were facing serious risk. So clearly, these are the observation of RBI plus external auditors. These are the responses of the external auditors at this point of time. Am I clear? Now, let me specify here one more point. It is written that the PAN was linked, same PAN was linked to more than 100 customers. In some cases, more than 1,000 customers. Another concern that they raised was that transactions worth crores of rupees beyond regulatory limits had been done. And you all know when things like this happen, this is leading to concerns related to money laundering. Of course, the fact that there was deficiencies in KYC, that's big factor here. Apart from this, in this article, it is also written that many times digital frauds which were conducted by accounts, wallets, they were connected to these Paytm banks. So law enforcement authorities had closed down many accounts, many wallets which were used to do digital frauds. Last but not the least, the payment bank was asked to keep a arm's length distance or arm's length policy when they are dealing with, when the dealing is with the promoter group entities. That was also not maintained here. The promoter group and the payment bank, they were operating together, co-mingled. That is, their operations were co-mingling. Apart from this, there were concerns related to data privacy. There was concerns with regards to data sharing, no operational segregation. All these are the accusations of RBI and the external auditors as far as the Paytm bank is concerned. So please understand, this topic or these points you do not have to only mention with regards to Paytm. If tomorrow there is any question with regards to general Indian banking system and the challenges that they face, you can use these points and you can use them to write a very, very good answer. Moving to the second last topic for the day, you can see this is an article by Sunita Reddy, the MD of Apollo Hospitals Group. And this is an article which talks about that the last 10 years has been a decade of transformation when it comes to the infrastructure. And she has raised certain points with regards to a few things that she would like that it should be happening. Personally, if you ask me, it is a very positive article for the government. This will help us in writing the positive points for the infrastructural growth that has been done by the government of India. Certain points like Heal in India. You can see here, these things, the words like innovative revolution, these will make your answers very, very good. So let me move to the article. Her point is that we have done vast progress when it comes to health indicators. But then she is not restricting herself to only the decade. She is saying this has happened in the past 4 decades. But then in the previous decade, clearly there has been a transformation. On what account does she say this transformation is happening? She is saying India's growth rate is 7%. Compare it to the world major economies, they are growing at 2.5%. So her first point is that look at our economic numbers, that shows transformation. Second is the space program. I don't have to talk about this here. Her second point is that this decade is a decade of transformation because of the space program. Third, fine line which is there between renewable and non-renewable energy. This has been achieved and we have achieved more than our targets. Now, yesterday when somebody had criticized the government I had criticized that person saying we should not take everything that is written on the face value. Now today, when somebody is applauding the government, again I will say you should not take everything as it is written. Why? Because here, yesterday I said the source of the data is not given. In this, the madam, Mr. Reddy, she has only written that we have achieved our energy targets, which many places have been written that it has not been done. So what is the source of her this point that energy targets have been achieved? So please remember, these things, whenever you read, as Bhagat Singh used to say, read everything, disbelieve everything, criticize everything, think about everything, and then develop a critical thinking of your own. Do not have to rely and approve everything, whatever you would have read anywhere. So coming back to this, these are her points why she is saying that this is a decade of transformation. What are her expectations? We should have preventive health care. She is saying that in the interim budget, the initiative to start and promote this specifically for human, I would write the full form, papillomavirus, HPV, this vaccination that is going to happen for girls to avoid the cervical cancer. She is saying it's an excellent thing. She is giving an example that the similar thing has been done by their team in a village named as Aragonda in Andhra Pradesh. As I said, she applauds all the success of the 4 decades. So she says there is a decline in infant mortality and maternal mortality. Life expectancy has gone up. So all these are the points which say that we are doing good. Now her third point, see, this is her first point where she is saying it's a decade of transformation which started earlier and it's continuing. Second point is about her preventive health care that she is arguing should be done on a bigger level. Third is the innovation revolution, where government has put 1 lakh crore corpus with almost a 50-year interest-free loan. She is very, very happy with this. And the fourth point she is raising is the medical value travel, under which in the past decade the heal in India, that is the people from all over the world, they are coming attracted to the great healthcare facilities being provided in India. And on top of that, the focus being on enhanced connectivity, where the railway lines, their performances being made better, their, I would say, the whole transformation happening in our infrastructural sector. All this is making easier for everyone to access the quality health care. Last but not the least, the last point for the day is a point for prelims infrastructure GS paper 3. You all know last month Prime Minister had announced the Pradhan Mantri Suryodaya Yojana. Yesterday Prime Minister has announced that this solar panel rooftops, which would be there for almost 1 crore households, the entire burden of this would be taken care by this center. So please understand, in prelims, the nitty-gritty of this article or this yojana, this scheme could be asked. Yesterday the Prime Minister also speaks that this is going to be a boost for the battery manufacturing industry. So you have to keep in mind certain points, like for example, do remember Pradhan Mantri Suryodaya Yojana. Who is going to bear the cost? Center. Up to how much? That is, they will set up in those households where the electricity consumption is less than 300 units per month. So this is the thing that they are saying, not more than 300, up to 300. For this, 1 lakh crore could be the cost. Who will implement it? The PSUs associated with Power Ministry, specifically the National Thermal Power Corporation, they will be looking at this. Now, the good thing is, almost 80 to 85% of our households, their consumptions are around, I would say, 300 units. This is less than 300 units. So this should not be a big concern. Last point, and we'll wrap up the session. 60% of the cost would come from center, that is center would give subsidy for this. Rest 40%, PSU will take the loan and repay it from the electricity if it is used over and above 300 units. So please, whenever this yojana or the scheme comes, totally, please focus on this and do look at all the small points under this. At last, okay, this is not working. Just give me a second. 2 mains questions. 1, India's relation with Maldives is a symbiotic relation. Comment, study about India-Maldives relation and answer this. Rapid growth of India depends on the infrastructural development in all fields. Critically analyze, a 250 words question. So with that, we will wrap up the session today. I hope you enjoyed the session. A lot of things and some of the things that we have already discussed were continued today. So again, let us meet in the next session next day. Do remember, tomorrow we are having the big workshop. So do register for that. Thank you. Goodbye.